Capture 22. Battle about a world. After the vampire starts to cut the undead in pieces and bury them under the ground, the police and the military did the same. Everyone was armed with swords, lances, sickles, axes, machetes and knives. In Europe we get very fast rid of the zombies, especially after the coldness of the winter. The coldness made the undead to unmovable statues and to easy victims. The people in Russia, Australia and Asia need more time to free their big countries and continents. Only in North America, called USA, they didn't get the picture. The Americans have too much trust in their shooting weapons. At first the Americans were enthusiastic, finally real zombies appear, they thought. Since the first zombie movie, the US citizens prepared to shoot zombie asses. It was like a big feast, like the Oktoberfest, after the first Walking Dead crawl out of his grave. The people run to the cemeteries with guns, rifles, shotguns and other weapons. They shoot with a great pleasure heads and extremities from the torso. At first it looks like a victory. The zombies couldn't bite and so the number didn't increase. That the undead didn't die totally, they learned after the first shots. The Americans were very enjoyed about it, because they were able to shoot like never before. That the headless corpse walk around was after a long time boring. And so they began to lighting up them, and blow their asses in the air. It seems to work, the zombies disappear. But the Americans didn't know that they free, increase and share up the spell. They shoot and bomb more than in every war they fight and make it worse. The spell shared up very fast in the whole country and over the borderlines. With the explosions and the dead bodies, the spell gets free and disappears as a green fog. With the much fog from the explosions, the colored fog didn't count in the mass of dirt, dust and smoke. Very less fog was enough to reanimate a dead human. The spell were fed by violence of the humans against the zombies and increased from every bitten and died human. With so much force and violence, the dead human bodies get rare and the spell began to invade other corpses. Suddenly animals wake up. Dogs, cats and rats come out of their graves or holes and start to attack animals and humans. Only birds and mice didn't wake up. We didn't know why. Maybe zombies have to be meat eater, to be scary. Dogs, cats and rats are all flesh eater, but birds and mice eat insects. But the reason didn't matter why all dead didn't come back to life. The Americans weren't interested about it. They have bigger problems to solve. Human zombies were alone very dangerous, but dogs and cats were fast and very deadly. Rats were as a zombie no problem. Walking Dead rats wasn't very fast and to the luck of the Americans they can't jump. It was easy to smash them to a pancake with a boot. As a pancake on the ground there were no danger for anyone. Dogs and cats, by the way, were faster than a human zombie and able to jump. The most humans died after an animal bite in the throat. These victims were the lucky one, because they died very fast. After the many blood they lost, they didn't realize to become eaten. The Americans stand very fast in front of a greater number of human and animal zombies than humans are alive, and they can't kill them. They have had to know it better. In all zombie movies, it was always a bad choice to kill or defend themselves against zombies with shooting weapons. You have to aim with stretched arms, especially with guns, to bullseye exactly the enemy. In every third-class horror movie, the heroes get bitten in the right arm by a zombie when he fires with stretched arms. They always get fucked and transformed to an undead. The movie Resident Evil 3 is a good role model. Alice used cutting and feeding weapons to cut heads or destroy brains. It is very simple and easy to understand. You have to hold swords and baseball pads close to the body for a hard and good beat. You need for that very less space, or a lot of space, depends on the weapon you use. With a sword you are able to react faster and you are more efficient against Walking Dead instead of guns and co. By the way, remember following. If you get into an attack of real zombies, forget your lead pumps and use swords, axes, machetes or any kind of cutting weapons. Don't get bitten and don't fall on the ground. If not, you turn to a living corpse. If you fall, stand up as fast as you can and hit wild in the environment. Maybe that's providing you with enough time to escape. In an emergency, move very fast and run like the wind. After the Americans realized that they lose the war, they asked other countries for help and how they were able to win against these monsters. They know that Europe was free from the undead, but they didn't know why. We were zombie free and they want to know how we did it. We explained them the rules, and after 2 months of slaying, USA were totally free of human eaters. They did it like the entire world. The military, the police and the folk wasted their guns and changed to cutting weapons. With swords, machetes, axes, senses and big knives, they hunt zombies. At first it wasn't so easy to distinguish the flesh eaters. The number of undead was too big. For that reason, the units built up walls and fences around towns and villages to protect the people. They started to build the security areas a short time after the plague. But now they built defense areas and corridors. The corridors were cone-formed to separate the undead. With our best method, they were able to free their country in a very short time with less loss of humans. To get rid of the body parts, they buried them like all under the ground in big holes. Cutting weapons were only effective at the zombie animals if someone used them with martial art experience or if the wanker were wounded or lie on the ground. To be secure, snipers shot them in extremities or in the neck and eyes. With that method, normal people were able to cut these dangerous dead animals in pieces and bury them under the ground. You can't always count on one by the Americans. They didn't give up and they liked to slay for their life, also without guns. The most of them liked to cut zombies in pieces more than to shoot them. They cut, split, hack and extracted heads, arms and legs like a blender. The body parts of the zombies fly through the air. Like I said, after 2 months they free the whole country. That was easy because the winter freezes the corpse to unmovable stages. After all was done, they were a little bit sad. With a great pleasure, they attack every new appearance of a zombie. Their motto was, "Finally zombies."